and we are back. And you know what? We're going to make sure tomorrow is going to be a show that is driven by the phone calls.
Ooh.
Yep, and if you want to cut the line, we do have that opportunity available based on the super chat system, and the voice of reason will definitely remind you guys of that on tomorrow. But Dante151, he sent in that super chat. Why? Because we got to talk about another team that has made themselves relevant.
Yes.
They've made themselves one of those squads. When you talk about hearing them talk about grit, you're hearing the Pistons start to use this terminology. And at first, people laughed. They said, nah, you got to go get it first.
Right.
And you know what? You got to start somewhere. And these Detroit Pistons, they right now are doing what they're supposed to do and a little bit more. The dub that they got over the Timberwolves, to me, man, that was one of those kind of gut check, kind of character type wins. 119-105. They also beat the Hornets 98-94.
Yep.
Back-to-back dubs for them to push their record to 17-18
They almost there,
on
bro.
the season. And now they have the sacrificial lambs in the Trailblazers pulling up to LCA at 12-22 on Chauncey Billups night. Get this done, because I'm looking at the road ahead, and if they win this game, this thing is set up nicely for the Detroit Pistons to make a nice little run. Winners of 6 of their last 7, 7 of their last 10. They look very, very good. And you know what? We got to kind of save that best for last.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham, all-star that man. And now the conversation hasn't moved to should he be an all-star, but all-NBA conversation. That's where we are with him right now. He outdueled. I don't care about the point game. He outdueled and got the dub for the Detroit Pistons against Ant-Man Anthony Edwards. Cade Cunningham, just to put this in perspective, 40 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 of 8 from 3, 15 of 29 from the field goals, man. Cade Cunningham was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And now the Detroit Pistons, just so you guys get a feel for where they are right now in the standings, they are just a half game behind the Pacers and Atlanta Hawks for the top postseason positioning, for the top play-in spot at number 7. And they are just 1 game behind the free-falling Miami Heat.
Oh, yeah.
The Orlando Magic have also dropped a couple different spots, too. Those teams from Florida, hey, Detroit, they're right on your heels. And I believe the Pistons, who started off the season 0-4 and are now 17-18, they're going to take that, man. No. I believe in what they're doing right now. JB Bickerstaff, shout out to you. And Cade Cunningham, all-star that, man.
Yeah, big facts. Hey, put the camera on me, man. Chauncey, let me talk to you, bro.
Talk to you.
Big, long-time fan of you. You know what you must do. You know what you got to do. Just go ahead and let us have it. Just let us have it. But, man, the job that the Pistons have done, and listen, I know you brought up they trying to copy off the Lions with the grid and everything.
They better.
Well, they look more like the Lions than anything. Jaden Ivey goes down, and what do? Back-to-back dubs.
Next man up.
It's been amazing, man, and we always, we gonna prop up Cade because he is the man on this team. He night in and night out, the things that they ask him to do to carry this team from a certain standpoint. Now you're without Jaden Ivey, who was probably one of your, if not probably better scorers on the team. For him to just step up in the way that he has was absolutely amazing, and he's solidifying his place as not only a star but a blooming superstar in this league. I mean, to go bucket for bucket with Ant-Man, and literally he was the only person on the Timberwolves doing anything. I mean, shout out to Cade, bro. Like, his game is elevated to such a point that, like I said, he is literally making his claim to be an NBA superstar. And you got to give credit to the team, man. Jalen Duren, the job he's done defensively the last 2 games, you got to give him credit. We criticize him a lot, but I know that the double-double he had in that first game and also what he was able to do in that second game from a defensive standpoint was great. Tobias Harris, Chase, we got to give him his props, bro.
Hey,
listen, 24-10 that first game. He comes back 16-11 that second game. When you play like that, that's the type of Tobias Harris that this Piston team needs. And when he plays like that, I'll shut up. Because this is what you were paid to come here and do.
It's why, though, in that conversation. What'd you say, brother?
I said, can he play like that consistently is the question.
He can, though. And that was why I was bullish about, though you don't ever want to lose a Jaden Ivey, that's why I said the incremental steps to make those guys are going consistently. then yeah, you have a lot. And when Jaden Ivey gets back, then you have even more. The issue is that we haven't been able to put it all together. Now that Jaden Ivey's going down, there's a little bit more motivation. There's a whole lot more attention on, and you have to perform. Because why? Because the Detroit Pistons, why waste this hot start?
Yeah.
Why waste an opportunity to finally just say, you know what, let go of this first round pick? Because they haven't even been able to make trades like that with their draft capital because it's been owned every single year by the New York Knicks. Why not go out there if you have a team finally that Cade Cunningham can lead to the playoffs and go out there and make this happen? And that means that then you probably have to do even more major tweaks at the trade deadline if Jaden Ivey's absence means that the team is going to crater around Cade. But instead, to see them step up, two players in particular, I'm going to continue to have the spotlight on them. Jalen Duren, Tobias Harris.
They have
as long
to
as they
perform.
continue to step up, which I believe they can, this team is going to have what they need to be able to overcome the loss of Jaden Ivey and can maintain the pace that we see. And to kind of zero in on the question from Dante151, it was who do we want to see at the trade deadline? Because he doesn't want to see Jimmy Butler, who might be a culture killer, or he might be a culture builder.
Yeah.
It just depends on if he's being brought in at the beginning and you just need a run or two, or if when it starts to wear out towards the end, like you see Miami, they're no longer the formidable team that they were when Jimmy first got there. And we saw the same thing with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like if you can bottle that up in a vacuum and use it for a season or two, sure. I just don't know if the Pistons are there right now.
I don't know either. And Jimmy Butler is somebody that I would like to see on this Pistons team because I feel like he brings that type of attitude, that type of leadership that would fit in well with what the Pistons want to do. And I got to push back on Dante a little bit because I don't feel he's a culture killer. When you go to a place like Miami and you are literally the man and you help drag a team to what, 2 finals they went to under with Jimmy.
Yes.
So and I think that what's going on in Miami is that like Pat Riley, he doesn't want to pay Jimmy Butler an extension. That's the big thing. Jimmy Butler wants an extension. He wants to stay in Miami. Pat Riley is somebody that we know he let D Wade walk. So if he let D Wade walk, what you think he gonna do to Jimmy Butler? D Wade brought a championship back. Jimmy Butler got close but couldn't get it done. So I think that, you know, it's just a standpoint of he wants to feel respected by the Miami Heat organization for everything he's done, which he deserves to be respected for everything that he's done. But it just doesn't look like it's going to pan out that way. I think his player option is upwards of $50 million or something like that, something crazy. So I think he would be a good fit, but like you said, I don't know if the Pistons are ready to make a move for a player like that and sacrifice the capital that you have right now.
Well, and I wonder, you know, when you talk about Jimmy Butler and the issue that it is right now, you might actually be able to buy cheap right now because he's looking like damaged goods, and they all know that the Heat, they don't want to necessarily deal with that too long.
True, but you calling up Pat Riley on that phone.
You are.
Listen, I love Trajan. I'm not going to doubt his acumen and the things he's able to do, but that's a shark, bro. Pat Riley is not going to let him go without getting some type of compensation.
I heard this about Danny Ainge, and we stole effectively Simone Fontecchio. They said if you do a deal, doesn't matter what deal you do, that you're going to get fleeced by these guys. But realistically, the Pistons have found themselves in some of these trades, realistically, on the right side of that deal. And some of that does have to do with Arn Tellem. It really does. And his connections to players throughout as being probably the top super agent in NBA history. Now that he has a guy like Trajan Langdon to better focus what players they should be able to flex those relationships with, is where if they do look at Jimmy Butler, I do believe that they'll be able to pull off the right type of deal without fleecing themselves. Obviously, any deal that happens, it's not really going to include draft capital. So we'll take some young players, but you already know they're not. The core of those guys are going nowhere.
And then the Pistons will have to sign him long term, you would feel like, because I feel like wherever he wants to be, he wants to be extended.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to that. Blake wanted that. You don't have to listen to that. You can just do the deal you do and dare the player to be a punk. And realistically, if he's that, then that's where you don't want that on your team. If you believe that he could be that type of a player and he will pout and he will this and he will that.
No, but I mean, he's pretty open about destination. He has a list of teams he would like to go to, but the report was he's willing to be anywhere but Miami. He's willing to listen to anybody, but he doesn't want to be in Miami anymore. Look, he's losing his passion for the game.
Jimmy Butler and Triple J were two players.
So was Tyreek.
Yep.
Yeah, there were two players at the top of my list that I would have just said any way you can get them into a jersey, get them here. But now, obviously, the Pistons are looking at potentially being one of those with the most cap space available to facilitate other deals, to be able to just pick up some players that they can put around their dog, Cade Cunningham. As long as Malik Beasley and if Tobias and these guys can continue to play like this, And I believe the Pistons think just a few tweaks honestly stabilizes them as a top 6 playoff team. And if you can do that for a few years, when that cap space opens up, whether you re-sign Tobias Harris for lower or if you just take his $26 million a year and put that together with the 14 you got now, you can go out there and sign 1 or 2 or 3 pretty good players or be active in the trade market to take on a disgruntled star when you are ready to like if this was 2 years from now and they were already a top 6 team, I would say, you know what, Jimmy Butler might actually be able to change things.
Yeah.
But right now, at the culture setting standpoint, I believe the voices that you want are voices like Cade Cunningham's and Isaiah Stewart's as being established. And then in a couple of years, you can bring in one of those types of Jimmy Butler types that will be able to come in here and understand whose team this is. Because when he went to Minnesota, even though they got rid of him, he went in there and took over the whole team. It didn't matter who was supposed to be the star or this or that. He just went there and took it over. And I believe that discombobulated the Carl Anthony. Jimmy Butler came in there, and is he the alpha? Yes. And what did that do to people who are not as alpha? And so that's why I'm like, if you're going to bring in a player like that or get one of those types of players, I can understand the why the Pistons would wait. I still am for them bringing in a big-time player if they can, but I am very, very comfortable with that right now, and that's because of one, Cade Cunningham. We started this network with following that draft of his. Our Woodward Pistons, for the whole first year, we had a Cade zone dedicated to who he was as a player. We've been calling him a future star since then. Yeah. We've been saying since year 2, 3, he's already a star.
And if you've been watching him, you know why. Like, we all saw it. We all saw it, man. But quick shout out. You know I got to shout out my boy, the Golden Voice, Neil Rule, in the chat. Soon. Hey, just y'all want to be tuned in for Big D Energy. I'm not going to be there today, but I will definitely be tapped in. Neil, get your shit off, bro. I know you listening right now. Hey, this is your day, bro. We've been plotting this all week. This your time, dog.
How much trash talk has he taken? How much people in the DMs, people in the comments, you talk about content that's going absolutely insane, and it's just overrun by Viking fans every single time. I can't wait. You guys want to make sure you stay tapped into Big D Energy. The last 10 minutes was brought to you by Dante151 Super Chat, as well as Feldman Automotive Group. And shout out to all of you all who definitely gave your Super Chats today and supported us. It goes a long way to support us personally. I know sometimes you guys talk about Venmos and things of that nature. The Super Chat program is going to help us personally on each one of these shows, as well as the new content that we have that is coming to the network. And so